Take you back now to our top story, where the trial of former President Jacob Zuma and the Thulasizwe group finally kicking off today, or is it? We're going to have to wait and see. Thulasizwe Simelane and Siphamandla Goge are our team down for us again outside the Pietermaritzburg High Court. Thulas, hello to you again. And speaking to Alton Hart, a legal expert, a little earlier today, he was suggesting the key point of this is about the postponement. Forget anything else. It's about the postponement application today.
It is more than likely going to be about that, Gareth, about the point of the arguments for a postponement, which we expect will be brought by the former President Jacob Zuma's legal team. They are going to come to, well, on a virtual platform, they are going to argue for a postponement based on the fact that he remains in hospital. He was taken to hospital on Friday for what we were told was a routine checkup, but then it has turned to be something that has lasted quite a number of days, with the result that he's not able to be here physically present. Remember, Gareth, that that's his preference, for him to be here present in court, in person, when the trial gets underway, even at the point at which it's merely the arguments about his application to have the prosecutor Billy Downer removed in terms of section 106(1)H of the Criminal Procedure Act. He doesn't want this done by way of him joining virtually from Escort prison. He wants to be here in person, and so the fact that he's in hospital scatters those plans that they had argued for vigorously before Judge Pitkun in various correspondences, with the judge finally granting that, to say, actually, instead of him joining virtually, let him come through and be here in person. But today, this is unlikely to happen because he remains in hospital. What is likely to happen is an application for a postponement, which we are told by the NPA won't be opposed as long as it's accompanied by the affidavit of the medical practitioner who attended to former President Jacob Zuma at that hospital, which is outside the prison where he was taken on Friday. Nevertheless, the preparations had already been set up. Courtroom A decked out for the hearing. You know that whenever the hearing is going to happen physically in court, there are all those preparations that go into it in terms of the COVID-19 screening, setting up everything, and also the audio-visual elements of it to ensure that those who need to join virtually, including those who may need to join from other countries. Remember, Thales is actually a French company, the second accused in this particular case. So all of that had been done. The SAPS had prepared itself, as did the SANDF and other security forces ahead of today. Speaking of that, let me take you to eNCA's Siphamandla Goge. Siphamandla, the build-up has been ongoing for the last few hours. The sun is up in Pietermaritzburg, revealing a ring of steel, at least figuratively speaking, around the city, but quite literally around the court vicinity.
Indeed, the capital city of KwaZulu-Natal, we can say, is under quote-unquote lockdown, and I can tell you that it's been taken over by security forces here. Most of the police officers and members that you will see shortly, Bongamkize will show you those police officers. They are wearing their uniforms, but I can tell you that many of police officers here and members are in plain clothes, walking around the streets of Pietermaritzburg. This main road outside the High Court of South Africa, KwaZulu-Natal Division in Pietermaritzburg, is on lockdown. It's been taken over by the soldiers and the police. What you are seeing right now is a unit called Public Order Policing. They are wearing their riot gear. They are ready for action. They were anticipating that supporters of former President Jacob Zuma may come to court today to protest and show their support. I can tell you that there's been a massive deployment here, and there's been a coordination of resources all the way from the Western Cape, the Eastern Cape, Northern Cape, Mpumalanga, and the Free State to come and can beef up to help those members of the SAPS who are from KwaZulu-Natal here. Most of the police members that are deployed here, they work for public order policing, and they have to do with crowd control management. Bonga Mkhize will pen and show you this side of the court here. The entrance has also been taken over by police. It's not surprising. Every time the former president appears in court, this is the case. But it's been, of course, heightened by the fact that recently there have been those riots in the country, the unrest that we have seen in South Africa. If you go further down, you will see that on the other side, unfortunately, you will not be able to see, but there is another vehicle there belonging to the military. It's a rattle vehicle. I can tell you that soldiers are also manning the other side of this court precinct. Police officers and the security cluster, they don't want to be caught napping this time around. We know that President Cyril Ramaphosa said his forces were caught ill-prepared or unprepared during the recent unrest. So even though this now will turn into a virtual hearing, proceedings will be virtually. The former president is not coming to court physically because he's still in hospital, but security personnel and forces are not taking any chances. They say they will stick to their plan, they will stick to their deployment up until all the proceedings are over.
Right, that is eNCA Siphamandla Goge. As you can see there, Gareth, it's set for 10 o'clock, this matter, in terms of the hearing of the defense's application for a postponement. So that's the time that it's been set down for. It is on a virtual platform, as Siphamandla said, and this was confirmed by the Office of the Chief Justice. There may have been confusion, perhaps in some quarters, from the statement coming from the Office of the Chief Justice. Some perhaps may have read it as saying that actually the case goes ahead in terms of the arguments on the issue of the removal of the prosecutor, Billy Downer. But my understanding of it is that's not what was being communicated by the Office of the Chief Justice. They were merely saying that there will be proceedings of one kind or another. So because everything needs to happen formally, Gareth, from the moment that former President Jacob Zuma pleaded not guilty, that marked the firing gun and really the start of this particular trial. So everything, even if it's a postponement, it needs to happen in open court, quote unquote. Open court these days can even include a virtual platform such as what we're going to see happening around 10 o'clock. So my understanding of what the Office of the Chief Justice was communicating was that we will convene one way or another, even if it is to argue for a postponement based on the fact that former President Jacob Zuma is in hospital.
Well, Thulasizwe Simelane and Siphamandla Goge, it could be a very long day, it could be a very short day. We have to wait till 10 o'clock to find out what happens there. As Thulasizwe quite rightly says, 10 o'clock expected to get underway. Of course, live here on eNCA and also live streaming on eNCA.com from 10 o'clock this morning.
Well, let's bring it back.